The 2026 Milano Cortina Winter Olympics will look very different this year. Athletes from Russia and Belarus can compete, but not under their national flags. No flags, no anthems, no official presence. The International Olympic Committee's decision is a response to ongoing conflict, aiming to penalize states without punishing individual athletes. This move challenges the traditional role of national pride at the Olympics and forces everyone to reconsider what it means to compete at the highest level without national representation. As the world watches, the neutral athlete policy will be a defining storyline, signaling that government actions have lasting consequences in international sport. The restrictions placed on Russian and Belarusian athletes have their roots in the events of 2022, when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, with Belarus providing critical support. This act of aggression sent shockwaves through the international community, and the world of sports was no exception. The Olympic movement, which has long prided itself on promoting peace and unity among nations, was suddenly faced with a profound challenge to its core values. In response, the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, took decisive action. They recommended that Russian and Belarusian athletes and officials be banned from participating in international competitions. The IOC cited a clear violation of the Olympic truce, a tradition that calls for peace and a halt to hostilities during the Games. Their decision was also motivated by a desire to protect the integrity and safety of the Olympic Games, ensuring that the event would not be overshadowed by political conflict or become a platform for propaganda. As the situation evolved, the IOC recognized the complexity of punishing entire populations for the actions of their governments. Over time, they shifted from a blanket ban to a more nuanced approach. Now, only those athletes who can prove they do not support the war and who have no ties to military or state security agencies are allowed to compete. These individuals must do so under a neutral flag, without any national symbols or anthems, emphasizing their separation from the actions of their home countries. This approach is designed to strike a delicate balance. On one hand, it holds states accountable for their actions on the world stage. On the other, it seeks to respect the rights and dreams of individual athletes, many of whom have trained their entire lives for the chance to compete at the Olympics and may have no involvement in political decisions. The IOC has made it clear that even if the war were to end before the 2026 Winter Olympics, the breach of trust and the violation of Olympic principles are considered too severe for an immediate return to normalcy. The organization believes that such a serious disruption to the Olympic spirit cannot be quickly forgotten or undone, and that time is needed to rebuild confidence in the values that underpin the Games. As a result, the path to Milano Cortina 2026 for Russian and Belarusian athletes is now defined by strict neutrality. Competing without their national flags or anthems, these athletes carry the weight of a conflict that has reshaped the Olympic landscape. Their participation is a reminder of the lasting legacy of war and the ongoing struggle to uphold the ideals of peace and fair play. Ultimately, the IOC's decision highlights how deeply political actions can affect the Olympic movement, leaving a mark that endures long after the headlines fade. The Games, once a symbol of global unity, now reflect the complex realities of our world, where the actions of nations can shape the dreams and destinies of athletes for years to come. The IOC's position has been unwavering since 2023. Russian and Belarusian athletes may only compete as neutrals, with no national symbols allowed. President Kirsty Coventry reaffirmed this in January 2026, stating nothing would change the decision for Milano Cortina. The IOC's resolve is rooted in its mission to promote peace through sport and to hold governments accountable for violating those ideals. This policy separates state actions from individual athletes, allowing participation while making a clear statement against aggression. The neutral athlete model is a compromise shaped by global athlete voices and national committees, balancing universality with accountability. For 2026, the IOC is committed to this model, making it a cornerstone of the upcoming Games. Competing as a neutral athlete means stepping onto the world's biggest stage without the comfort of a national flag, anthem, or any symbols of home. There are no colors to wear that represent your country, no familiar songs to play if you win, and no flag to raise in your honor. Instead, athletes enter the stadium under a neutral banner, often the Olympic flag, and wear unmarked uniforms that set them apart from the rest of the field. When they achieve victory, it's the Olympic anthem that plays, not the music of their homeland. The Olympic flag is raised, a symbol of unity, but also of the absence of national identity. The psychological impact of this can be profound. Athletes often describe a sense of isolation, as if something essential is missing from their Olympic dream. Without the support and pride of representing their country, they compete as individuals, sometimes feeling alone even in a crowded stadium. The process to compete as a neutral athlete is also rigorous and demanding. Every athlete is subject to a strict vetting process. Anyone found to have supported the war or with links to military agencies is barred from participation. Only those who meet the highest standards of neutrality are allowed to compete. For those who do qualify, the journey becomes one of personal achievement and resilience. They must find motivation within themselves, training and competing without the backing of a nation. Their victories are celebrated quietly, for the love of sport and the pursuit of excellence, not for national glory. The experience can be isolating, but it also highlights the athlete's unwavering dedication and the true Olympic spirit, competing for the sake of sport itself. These athletes must navigate the games on their own, forging connections with others in similar situations and finding new ways to belong. Without the familiar framework of a national team, they face unique challenges, both emotionally and logistically, throughout the competition. Their participation is a testament to their commitment, courage, and the belief that sport can transcend politics and conflict. Even as politics reshape the Olympic landscape, these athletes remind us of the enduring power of individual determination and the unifying spirit of the Games. Leading the IOC through this pivotal moment is President Kirsty Coventry, the first woman to hold the position and a decorated Olympian herself. Coventry's experience as an athlete from Zimbabwe, a nation with its own challenges, gives her unique insight into the intersection of sport and politics. Her leadership is defined by balancing the Olympic Charter with the rights of individual athletes, advocating for neutral participation over blanket bans. Coventry's public statements have set clear expectations for 2026, reinforcing the IOC's unwavering stance. As the face of the IOC, she communicates the rationale behind these decisions to a global audience. Her tenure marks a new era for the organization, shaping its response to crisis and its future direction. The IOC's policy was cemented in a January 2026 interview with President Coventry in Italy's Corriere della Sera. Coventry's unequivocal statement, "Nothing would change the committee's decision," ended speculation about a policy reversal. The timing, just before the Games, was strategic, providing certainty and eliminating distractions for athletes and organizers. Announcing the decision in an Italian newspaper directly addressed the host nation, ensuring clarity and stability. The interview closed years of debate, confirming the framework for neutral athletes at Milano Cortina. The focus now shifts from policy debate to implementation at the Games. The 2026 Winter Olympics also mark a shift in how the Games are organized, with Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo co-hosting events across northern Italy. This multi-city, multi-venue approach emphasizes sustainability and economic efficiency, using existing infrastructure instead of building new stadiums. President Coventry has highlighted this as a potential blueprint for future Olympics, making hosting more accessible and responsible. Milan will host ice sports and the opening ceremony, while Cortina brings alpine events back to the Dolomites. The model showcases Italy's diversity and could inspire more joint bids and regional hosting in the future. The IOC sees this as a strategic move toward a more flexible, sustainable Olympic legacy. For Russian and Belarusian athletes, the neutral status is both an opportunity and a burden. They must choose between competing without national symbols or missing the Olympics entirely. This path brings personal achievement, but also criticism from home and skepticism abroad. The emotional and mental toll is immense. They face Olympic pressure while navigating political controversy and media scrutiny. Their focus is divided, and they become unwilling symbols of a larger conflict. Competing as a neutral is a solitary journey, with victories celebrated quietly and challenges faced alone. Their presence at the Games is a reminder of the intersection of sports and politics. Yet their resilience and dedication embody the enduring spirit of competition. The IOC's decision for 2026 is a landmark, not just for the Olympic movement, but for the entire world of international sport. It marks a turning point in how global sporting bodies address the intersection of politics, conflict, and fair play. By setting this precedent, the IOC demonstrates a willingness to take a firm stand when the values of peace and unity are threatened by geopolitical conflict. The Olympic movement, long seen as a symbol of hope and cooperation, now faces the challenge of upholding its ideals in an increasingly divided world. By maintaining sanctions even if the war ends, the IOC is sending a clear message. Actions that violate the Olympic truce will not be quickly forgotten or forgiven. The consequences of breaching the truce are now more than symbolic. They are tangible, with real impact on nations and athletes alike. This policy redefines the relationship between athletes, states, and the Games, challenging the traditional notion that sport and politics can be kept entirely separate. By separating individual achievement from national agendas, the IOC is attempting to protect the dreams and efforts of athletes, even as it holds nations accountable for their actions. The world will watch closely to see how neutral athletes are received, by fans, by fellow competitors, and by the media. This experiment will shape not only the future of the Games, but also how the Olympic community responds to future crises and conflicts. The ruling forces a global conversation about the role of politics in sport, and whether the Olympic stage can ever truly be free from the influence of world events. It also raises questions about the meaning of national representation and what it means to compete for something greater than one's country. Ultimately, this is a forceful defense of Olympic ideals, of peace, unity, and respect, reminding the world that the Games are more than just a competition. The IOC's stance holds nations accountable while still protecting the dreams of athletes who have trained their whole lives for this moment. As the Games unfold, the absence of two national flags will stand as a powerful symbol of this historic decision, echoing far beyond the stadiums and into the future of international sport.